Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm sharing 4 DIY last minute Christmas gift ideas that are easy, inexpensive, and would be the perfect gift for anyone. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. Now let's get right into today's gift ideas. For gift idea number 1, I'm going to be making photo magnets. For this one, I'm using 2 of these storage containers from Dollar Tree. They do come 2 in a pack. And for this project, I'm only going to be using the lids of the storage containers, and then the bottom portions, I'm just going to put those away for another project. And I'm also using some photos that I had printed up. These ones are of my son, and I know that they would make family members really happy to have these. So I'm taking the top lids of the storage containers and I'm just centering it on my picture that I want to have in my magnet, and then I'm using a pen to trace around that lid and then just simply cutting out the circle shape for my picture. Once I have my picture cut out and it fits inside of that lid, then I'm going to be using some of this matte Mod Podge, and you can pick this up at Dollar Tree. The larger one I have is from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just painting that onto the entire back circle of my picture and then placing it inside of that storage lid. Once I have it all pressed down into the lid, then I'm using some more of that matte Mod Podge and I'm painting that right over top of my picture to give it a sealer and to also make sure that it's glued inside of that lid really well. For the last step on this photo magnet, I'm using 2 of these mini magnets from Dollar Tree, and I'm placing hot glue on the back side of each magnet and then just gluing that right to the back of my storage lid. I'm also going to show you another option if you didn't want to use a storage lid or you just have these circle wood slices already at home. These ones I picked up at Hobby Lobby. You get 3 of them in a pack. So I'm taking my wood circle shape and pretty much doing the same thing as I did with my storage lid. I'm placing it over top of my photo where I want to have that onto my magnet, and then I'm using that as a guide to trace around the photo with my pen so that I have that nice circle shape. Once I have it all traced out, I'm just going to be cutting out my photo in the circle shape. Then using that matte Mod Podge and painting it right on the back side of my photo, then placing my photo onto my wood circle, and then just to make sure that it's all sealed down, using that Mod Podge once again over top of my photo. These are the magnets that I use from Dollar Tree. They come in a 12-piece set, and for $1, it is a really good deal. And for this wood magnet, I'm using 2 of them on the back side as well. Now I'm going to be showing you a third option for a photo magnet. I have a picture that's a little bit longer, and I thought it would be really cute to put it on a longer piece of wood. So the wood that I'm using is from Dollar Tree. I believe they were called wood planks, and it came in a pack of either 4 or 5. And I'm also using this Merry Christmas stamp that I picked up from the Target dollar spot last year, and then just my black ink pad from Michael's. Once I have all of my ink on my stamp, I did not want to have the ornaments that were on the stamp actually on my picture, so I just took a piece of paper towel and I wiped that ink off of the ornaments so that only the words Merry Christmas would show up on my wood. And I just stamped that on the very top of my wood plank. And once that was all stamped on, I knew that I wanted my picture cut down a little bit, obviously, because it won't fit. So I just cut the 2 edges of my photo off and then used some matte Mod Podge again on the back side of my photo, and then painted it on the front side of my photo as well to have it all sealed and so that it stays on my wood nicely. I had an empty space next to my word Merry at the top of my wood, so I'm using some of this black and white buffalo check ribbon. I'm making a really simple bow, and then I'm hot gluing it right next to the word Merry. Then for the last step on this photo magnet, I'm using 4 of those mini magnets from Dollar Tree. I'm just hot gluing each one on the back side of my wood plank. I did 2 of them at the top and then 2 of them at the bottom. Here are all 3 versions of my photo magnets all finished. This was such an easy and inexpensive project. I know that any family member would love receiving these as a gift, and this is also a perfect project for kids to get involved with as well. Now for gift idea number 2, I'm creating a custom oven mitt. For this one, I am going to be using my Cricut Maker, and I'm also going to be using my Cricut Everyday Iron-On Vinyl, and then in the color white. The image that I'm going to be cutting out is already in the Cricut Design Space, so I didn't even have to create the image myself. I just pulled it up on Design Space. And when I'm cutting out the image on the vinyl, I did make sure to mirror my image since this is a iron-on vinyl. And then I just cut the image out on my Cricut Maker. I also want to mention, since this is an iron-on vinyl, you always want to make sure that you're putting the glossy side of the vinyl down on your mat when cutting. Once my image was all cut out, and then I just weeded out that excess vinyl. Then it was time to adhere my image to my oven mitt. The oven mitt I'm using, I picked up at Dollar Tree. And then to attach the image to my oven mitt, I am using my Easy Press 2 from Cricut. I'm setting it to 330 degrees for 30 seconds on the front side, and then I flipped my oven mitt over and did an additional 15 seconds at 330 degrees on the back side to make sure that my image is attached to my mitt. Then once everything has cooled down, I'm removing the film portion from my vinyl. And then I decided it would be really cute to add some cookie mix to this oven mitt. So I'm doing some sugar cookies, and I'm also doing this rubber spatula that I also picked up from Dollar Tree, and then some red and green sprinkles. This is my oven mitt all finished and put together. This would be the perfect gift for anyone in your life that loves to bake. And if you don't have a Cricut to do the vinyl design, this would still be a wonderful gift without the image on the front. Now moving into gift idea number 3, I'm creating a decorative jar. For this project, I'm also using my Cricut Maker, but this time I'm using my Cricut Premium Permanent Vinyl in the color white. Now for this image that I'm going to be putting on my jar, I've already pulled it up in Cricut Design Space, so it was already created, which is great. I just resized it to the size that I need to go on my jar, and then I'm cutting it out with my Cricut Maker. Once my image was all cut out, I then weeded out all of that excess vinyl. Then I used my Cricut transfer tape over top of the image so that I can transfer it to my glass jar. The glass jar, I believe, I picked up from Dollar General a while ago. And then I used my Cricut scraper to push the image onto the glass before peeling back all of that transfer tape. Next, to add some detail to the top of my jar, I'm using some of this red and white string. I wrapped it around the top of the jar a couple of times and then tied a bow right in the front. Then for even more detail, I added some greenery pieces on each side of my bow. These are just extra green pieces I had in my craft stash, and to attach them I used hot glue. And then I used one of these little mini pine cones from Dollar Tree and attached that right underneath my bow. Here is my decorative jar all finished. I did end up adding a battery tea light candle to the bottom of it, and I left the picture a little bit darker so you could get the effect of how pretty it is with the little tea light inside. I think anyone would love this as a gift. For the fourth and final gift idea, I'm creating a frosted mason jar. For this one, I'm using just one of these Dollar Tree mason jars. This one already has the lid removed from it. And then I'm also using some of this matte Mod Podge. You can get this at Dollar Tree. The bigger one I'm using is from Hobby Lobby. I started by painting this Mod Podge about 3/4 of the way up my entire jar around all of the outside. Then while the Mod Podge is still wet, I'm adding some of this Epsom salt that I picked up from Dollar Tree also. And you want to make sure that the Mod Podge doesn't start to dry, because then the Epsom salt will not stick to your jar. So just do this very quickly. You could even work in sections if you're afraid that the Mod Podge is going to start to dry too quickly. So I just used a measuring cup underneath just to keep things a little less messy. You could even put the Epsom salt in a bowl and then just kind of roll the jar on top of the salt. Once that was all dried on my jar, I then took some of this red and white string and I wrapped it around the very top of my jar a few times and then tied that in a bow to add some detail. Then to add some detail, I'm using some hot glue to attach some greenery pieces on each side of my bow. And then I did some darker greenery pieces on top of my bow and then used a little piece of the snow-covered fern from Dollar Tree. I thought that that would really tie everything in with the white from the Epsom salt and then the white on the fern. here is my frosted mason jar all finished. This was a super easy project. I know that anyone would love this as a gift, and it looks really pretty at night if you have one of those battery tea lights in the bottom of it. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video as much as I enjoyed making it. I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and happy holiday season, and I cannot wait to see you guys back next year for 2021. I would love to hear in the comments down below what kinds of projects you guys are wanting to see from me here in the new year. Thank you so much for watching.